enjoyed that. Inspiring. So, we've got Davis Williams coming up next. Give it up for Davis.
I'm a little bit flued up, guys, so let me just get some fluid. Please bear with me. But while I'm doing this, would you please look to the person next to you or behind you and just say, like, you look beautiful today. What you guys do? You said beautiful. What's the end of beautiful? Don't forget to say thank you as well. Alright, so I've got some of these here. I'll take this book here. My name is Davis Williams, and I do a few things. Firstly, Carl, thank you for inviting us here. I'm going to give Carl a round of applause. I very rarely tell people I'm an author, just because there's other things that I'm really passionate about. And I find by me creating, it helps me to release the IT thing, like clear the cache, you know, like just get rid of the backlog. So I tend to create a lot of stuff. So all the things that I've created here is just for me to deposit, just so you can stop asking me the same question day after day after day. So go to my website, you know. But I'm Davis Williams. I've been working with young people in this area for about maybe like 25 years. I know I look young, I know. I actually work with young gangs, so you can imagine I'm not going to traumatize no one who has no mad stories, and there are some crazy stories, because I know you guys have your lived experiences, and I don't want to trigger nobody, I don't want no one crying, because you can get that sometimes. But I work with young people in and around the area, helping them transition. Unfortunately, sometimes they don't transition because they transition, if you understand what I'm saying. They don't get to that stage for one reason or another. I think this was maybe in 2015. I've been passionately working with young people, young boys and girls, until a few of my close mentees transitioned. And I was just like, Davis, this is long. Why am I doing this? Why am I going to funerals and so on and so forth? So I decided, you know what? I need a career change. That was just the idea. So I thought, let me go on holiday and let me explore what's possible for me. So I went to Gambia. Anyone been to Gambia?
Yes.
Yeah? You like it?
Yeah,
Yeah? Yes, I went to Gambia for the first time in 2015. Beautiful country, they call it the smiley coast. Everyone's smiling at each other, how you doing, you know? And when I was out there, I was a release for myself. And it was a release because I thought, okay, what am I going to discover? What is going to discover me? I literally went there with a blank canvas. And I remember sitting on the beach, I went there with my daughter, it was October half term, my daughter's 18 now, and this is a big girl now, you know. Telling me about myself, you know, like, my gosh. And I remember I was on the beach, and I'm naturally observant, so I'm a people's person. I love connecting, I love talking to people. And I remember I was just on the beach, just taking in the suns, and listening to music. And over there I just saw, on the beach, there were like maybe 25, 30 young black Gambians in a circle, and they were wrestling. They were just like, and that's what they do, bro. Like, it was really, really gruesome. And that was their training. That's what they do in Senegal, Gambia. Football's a big deal as well, but they do a lot of wrestling on the beach. And I was just observing, like, wow. After they finished, they went to the sea, they washed their hands in the same circle. One of the other guys got some food. They sat in a circle and they were like, here's some food. And they started feeding each other. And I was just like, they're like young boys, like 16, 15, 14-year-olds. And I was saying to myself, I've never seen this in London, ever in my life. I've never seen young people share food. I don't know about you guys, I haven't. You know, I see them they're like savages sometimes when it comes to food. I know what I was like when I was with my peers. I'm not sharing my food with you. That chicken is coming to me, you're not getting it. But out there, they were really compassionate, they were really loving, they were really caring. And I was just observing like, wow, this is different. I've not seen that from where I'm from. So naturally I went over to them, I'm like, wow, like, hey, I'm from London, how you doing? I've noticed like, you guys are really like, you got a good vibe, you know, like, I'm not being funny, but where I'm from, I've not witnessed that. And obviously you have that culture exchange. Well, what's it like in London? So we're there talking, I'm sharing some of the horror stories in London, and they were like, oh my gosh, no. They were like, I'm Absolutely not. You know, I know some people normalise what happens here in the streets in the UK or in the Western world, I guess, but it's not normal. Out there, they've got a different mindset. Long story short, we had a conversation and they were, welcome, take a seat, it's okay. You know, and they kept on saying, at the age of 12 or 13, they went through a transition, but that transition was manufactured by the community. That transition is called rites of passage. And the young boys were so eloquent in what they're saying. At the age of 12, my uncles, my dads, the brothers, they took all of the 12-year-olds, all of them, into the wilderness where they were taught everything there is about manhood. I know growing up here in London today, I can't even go to some schools and mention manhood because it's now demonized, you know, it's like, it's murky. Let's not get into that, you know. But rites of passage. And with that whole process, these young boys were taught how to hunt, they were taught how to show compassion, they were taught how to self-control themselves, they were taught how to communicate, so on and so forth. After that whole process, they will come back to the village, everyone would celebrate. Literally, it's a celebration. The young boys have returned! Woohoo! Come on, guys! Woohoo! Listen! I'm joking. The young boys have returned, and now they can take their place in society. And I was like, wow, that's what I need. No one taught me how to be a man. No, well, someone did say, Davis, if you hold this and do that, yes, but that's madness, thinking about it now. And I know a lot of my peers experienced that as well. And I was certain that's what I needed. So, here we are today, 2024. Back then, I decided, you know what, this is what young boys need in London. So I came back here and I started my own charity called Manhood Academy. Manhood Academy is a charity, won awards, been on TV, blah, blah, blah. Not really interested in that. What is interested is we're helping young boys with that transition into manhood, which is crucial. You hear their traumas, you hear their pain. Now, one of the things that I decided to do as well, I decided in that moment that, Davis, you've got to create resources for these young boys. Because talking with a lot of mothers who don't have partners supporting them with their child into manhood, or if the man is there, maybe the man is this Peter Pan, is a grown male, he's not got that adulthood about him. Does that make sense? Yeah? I've got a lot of friends, you know, they look grown, but they're just like big kids. And their children look at them like, you're not serious, I don't want to be around you. It's like, it's not good in society. So, the first book, I'm going to go, not only was that whole experience moving for me, but it was moving for my daughter. So my daughter wrote her book as well. She wrote this at 9 years old. My first trip, she's not here, but I'll tell you that. She's not here. My first trip to the Gambia, and she spoke about her experiences as well. She didn't do the drawing, but she done some little stick characters, and she wrote a little poem in here, and so on and so forth. And for my daughter, what was beautiful for her, when she went there, she really thought, Daddy, is there going to be lions on the street? Daddy, is it going to be wild? And I'm like, you need to stop watching TV. But we understand that all of us are programmed by something or someone. But when she was out there, she loved it. She felt so safe, and she felt so inspired that she decided to write this book. So that's that. The second thing that I decided to do was create this resource for young boys in particular. It's called From Boyhood to Manhood, and it's a journal. Because unfortunately, a lot of the parents I support, they will be like, I don't understand about manhood. Okay, get this. And then you can sit down with your child as a family and you can talk about some of these principles. And the crazy thing is, when you are talking about manhood, women can talk about manhood because you talk about principles, you talk about values. Don't matter what your gender is, you can talk about respect, integrity, love, compassion, empathy, forgiveness. It don't matter who you are, you can be a good person. It doesn't mean you can't teach a young boy. But a lot of women, unfortunately, they remove themselves from that because the narrative that women can't teach young boys how to become men. They can't. What a woman might not be able to do, in my opinion, is teach a young male, which is different to a male about how do you hygiene yourself as a man because you don't have the anatomy. That's biology. But in terms of the characteristics, it's all, we're talking about the science here, not the personality. Two different things.
But if you're a single mother...
Could I finish, please, Auntie? I know. And this is a new concept, because a lot of people think manhood and male is the same thing. It is not. It is not the same thing. Being a male is one thing. Being a man is something totally different. Manhood is all about your mindset. But anyway, I'm not here to teach, I'm just here to let you guys know. So when you do sit with these young people, telling them that yes, you might be a male, you might be grown, but to be a man, you have to be thinking a certain way. Yeah? And then what I started to realize, working with a lot of families, I realized that there's another thing that's happening. It's not only the young boys in gangs and everything else, but there's a lot of young boys and young girls of all ethnicities. I don't know if you realize, but they're running away from home. Have you guys seen this? There's an epidemic in London right now. Young people running away from home. I'll ask you guys, why do you think they're running away from home? We get a little...
Abuse in the household?
Say that again?
Abuse in the household?
Abuse in household, okay. Anyone else?
They don't fit in anywhere.
Discipline, do not fit in anywhere, okay. Anyone else?
Social pressures.
Social pressures. Carl, what do you think? Why do you think young people are running away from home?
Probably they're not comfortable at home. They feel the parents don't understand them, or there's some disconnect with their parents. They don't feel heard.
And that's 100% true. There's a narrative out there that a lot of young people are running away because they want to make money and la 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 la. When I sit down with these young people and you get rid of the bravado, you get rid of the ego, you get rid of the blaming, they will tell you, I only run away from home because I don't belong at home. They don't feel like their mum or their dad spends enough time to be like, how was your day? Talk to me. La 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 la. Not have you done your homework? Have you cleaned your dishes? And then there's no connection. So my last product that I finished, where is it over here? Where is it? I decided to, because one of the things that I didn't have when I was growing up, I couldn't ask my mum and dad no questions. If I said, Dad, A, B, or C, don't ask me no questions. I'm a big man. You're a little boy. Stand in the corner. Like, serious. I couldn't ask him nothing. Nothing. If you can relate, can I just show my hands? Because, okay, some people, good. Yeah. For those that could, well done. Yeah. Good life. And my mum as well, equally. But what happens is a lot of young people that I work with, they will ask me, my gosh, everything under the sun. Because there's that connection, they know I'm not going to judge them. And what I will never do is, I'm not answering that because they want to know the answer. I would sometimes be like, why don't you ask your dad that? And the look they give me is like, are you mad? So what I decided to do, I did create a book of questions for young people and families, but then what I decided to do is to convert it into these cards. So let me show you these cards. Actually, if I give you something to pass it back, if you don't mind, it's okay. Yeah. I'm trying to make this interactive. Because what I didn't want to do is to have a book, and I don't really like being an author. Even though I'm an author, I'd rather just sit with young people and uplift them. Can you take one and pass it back? So I decided to convert a book into these cards, so families can sit down at home and have conversations. So technically this is a book that is transitioned into a deck of cards. And they're called Ask Me, and what I'm actively doing with a lot of families is helping them reconnect at home. Have these conversations at home, whether it's around the dinner table, whether you're driving somewhere. And what cards do we have in the hand, sir? Do you mind reading it out?
About us, it says, what do you want to happen?
What do you want to happen? I remember when my daughter asked me that question. Wow. And you saw the look in her eyes, because she knew, yeah, I've got you now, Daddy, And that led to a beautiful conversation, a conversation that we've never had before. A conversation that made us equal, not Daddy, big man, is asking you child questions. That dynamic is a power shift that is not always friendly. With this dynamic, it allows you, young person, is this your mom? Yeah, it puts you in a position that, Mom, I'm going to take that position of leader, of authority, and with your permission, and with love. It's not a debate, it's not an argument, it's questions to bring you closer together. All of these cards are family-centered. Whether it's your partner, husband and wife, mother and daughter, mother and son, grandparent, whatever it is, siblings. What card do you mind? Is that your card, please? Oh, you don't have one?
I'll read this one.
Okay, that's fine.
How do you want to contribute to our family?
How do you want to contribute to your families? Can you imagine having this kind of conversations at home? So I think I made the right decision to convert that book into these cards. So now young people can now actively, uplift their household, and also parents also have that ability. There's another book that I have that is not here, and it's called No Enemy Within, and that's the one that I want to talk about now. When you finish with the card, you just put it back on the table and you can come and say hi. So I am really good at creating a rapport with young people. I'm really good at creating that connection. I can go down to their level, I can be a bit of the jester, I can smile, but there's a genius working in the background. And normally schools will contract me, they would invest in me to do workshops for like maybe 12 weeks, 16 weeks. I'll go in for an hour, hour and a half. You guys might be in the classroom, the teachers will select you guys and we'll do the work. We'll have my PowerPoint presentation, you'll have learning resources and so on and so forth. I never forget the day. I remember walking through the corridor, imagine this is the classroom, and as soon as I'm coming through the door, like I'm over here, I could smell like body odor, like it was some energy that was emitting from the classroom that was producing sweat. And I'm just like, what is that smell? I'm boys, I know girls there as well. I came through the door, yeah, and I saw all of them gathered together. Hold my phone, please. All of them were gathered together, looking in his phone. Yeah, so imagine you're just looking at the phone. Can you give him a back? He's doing good, right? Can you give him a back? Yeah. Now, everyone that knows at the dog is watching, yeah? And you can see they were looking at, my gosh, and you can hear the commentary. And I was trying to make out, what are these guys talking about? Long story short, I don't want to be too graphic, but there was a critical incident. Does that make sense when I say critical? Is that graphic? Yeah. There was a critical incident, and these little boys recorded it on their phone, and they were glorifying it. Oh my gosh, Davis the professional went out the window. I was mad. Because all of this investment, all of the time and the great work that we've done with these young boys, it made me think, Davis, are you wasting your time all over again? All over again. So then I'm there thinking, and now I'm here at the front of the class, and I'm telling you about yourself. And then I see him looking at me, and I was like, Davis, you gotta be hard, like, should I calm you down? And they said, no, Davis, you shouldn't. And they said, okay, what is the play here? What is going to be the learning outcome? Because I believe that every situation should have a learnable outcome or a teachable outcome. That's what I personally believe. I believe in alchemy. If someone throws you lemons, what do you make? Lemonade. Give them a round of applause. So I'm there thinking, and what I realize is, young people in their phones today is unacceptable. These are not phones. This is AI. You know that, right? This is highly powered technology. They shouldn't belong in the hands of young people without instructions. That is what I believe. Highly, highly, highly addictive. Highly brain altering. Psychological. These are dangerous. These are dangerous. I've got my nephew, he's been groomed by his phone. Summer holiday, hot. He's got his big jacket on, woolly hat. He's sweating. Oh, are you hot? Man's not hot. It's not. He's sweating by his phone and the algorithms and everything that he's seeing is, this is how you as a young person should dress. In a woolly, and it's hot. I'm there myself, it makes no sense. So I'm there knowing that these young boys are on their phones, so I'm like, hey, what can we do? And then it came to me. This is what we're going to do, guys. I believe you lot are addicted to your phones. I believe that you guys are agents. I believe that you guys are robots. And I started creating a picture that they are in gaming. There's something that's called NPC. Do you guys know what NPC is? Do you mind explaining what an NPC is, if you don't mind?
I should have known this. I think the kids use it as a term to kind of minimalize each other. When in your life, you're the main character. Like when you play the game, you play with a character. And NPCs are all the background characters, so they have no real agency. They just follow whatever programs are there.
Follow, yeah. There is there. Nobody. True? Yes. Yeah, so I started calling them like NPCs, and they started getting offensive. I'm like, you're an NPC because you're just following what the system wants you to do, and so on and so forth. They started to push back, and I'm like, yes, okay, now we've got some. I said, okay, prove it to me. I'm going to set you a challenge. For 7 days, no phone. For 7 days, no Snapchat. I'm going to set you in charge. For 7 days, no TV. For 7 days, no drill music. For 7 days, you're going to go blackout. 7 days, no nothing. Do you accept? Prove to me or not. What do you think they did? They stepped to the challenge. They did it. So I said, okay, boom, we need some accountability now. Give me your mum's numbers. Right there, the teacher was there. I phoned all of their mums and I said, mums, this is what we're going to do. Yeah, 7 days, la 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 la. I explained, I didn't tell them what happened, but I said, we're going to do a social media detox. That's what we did for 7 days. And off the back of that, each one of them had a little journal to write in how the days were. So we was just making it up as we went along. Hour and a half finished. Davis, now I need to leave. I've got another school to go to. Yeah, I've got business to take care of. See you guys next week. Make sure you do your detox. I went home. Went to the next school. Next week now, I'm coming to the classroom. Man, it's not no deal. But I'm coming back in the school. I'm walking through the corridor. Mr. Williams, what have you done with these kids? In my mind, I actually forgot about the detox because I done it in a frenzy, in an emotional state. I'm walking through. Mr. Williams, wow, whoa. One day, Mr. Shepherd, wow, whoa. I never forget his head. Wow, whoa. Yeah? I went to the classroom now. And I'm like, okay, guys. Oh, Davis, guess what? I said, what? We did the detox. Oh, yeah, the detox. How did you guys do? Every single one did the detox. Not only that, but then the teacher came in and said, Davis, Mr. Williams, my gosh. Like, I mean, we've got a good relationship, so he was just like, these guys, and keep in mind, these guys were, you could consider, about to get kicked out of school. Yeah? For various reasons. Yeah? But throughout these 7 days, if I saw their report, tick, tick, A, tick, tick, tick. For that 7 days, they were on a mountaintop. They were like stars. According to their statistics, their numbers don't lie. According to their report, they were shining. All because they didn't have their phone or TV and so on and so forth. I felt so gassed. So gassed. I remember that day, and Carl, with something that you said. When I finished that workshop and was there debriefing, I went to my car, got my phone, I just started writing and writing and writing. It took me 6 weeks to create my second book. 6 weeks. I done the artwork myself, because I didn't want to rely on no public. I didn't know what to slow me down. Even up to today, there's still a few spelling mistakes, you know, but it is what it is, you know. We go through that, you know, but 6 weeks took me to create that that book, which is called No Enemy Within. I've actually sold that. It's on Amazon now. I don't like my stuff being on Amazon, I'm being honest. But that is the only one that is on Amazon, because when I do have it, it just goes a lot quicker, because I know a lot of families have issues with social media. And one of the things that I will always say is that even right now, today's Saturday, tomorrow is the last day of my current group's detox. I met up with them earlier today. That's why when you phoned me, Carl, earlier about 10, I was delivering a session with the young people. And they will tell you, when they're not on their phones, they are amazing. Literally. If any of you guys have children, please, revise how much usage they have on their phone. I know it helps. I know that. Because, yeah, he's talking a lot. Hey, have this, be quiet now. Yes, peace. But what you're doing, yeah, is you're changing the trajectory of that child from awesomeness to an NPC. That follows what everyone else is doing. And don't want to leave the house, just wants a game all day, blah, 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 blah. That is not their destiny. I know, mums, you didn't go through all of that labor to give birth to a child to become that. That is not the deal. You want your child to be amazing, so it's so, so important that we monitor that. But yeah, so No Enemy Within, that's my second book. And my first book, I'm going to end with this one, is And Along Came a Lion. There's a quote that I love. Until the liar tells his own story, the hunter will always glorify the hunt. Have you guys heard that quote? Until the lion tells his own story, we don't hear the lion's story. We just know it's the hunter's story because he's the one that killed the lion, right? So a lot of the work that I do, I hear a lot of perspectives from young people, whether it's white supremacy, whether it's Illuminati, whether it's religion, whether it's diet, whether it's abuse, whether it's police officers, all of these perspectives. So when I'm sitting with a young person, I need to be able to talk about all of these things. If you come to me and you talk about I don't know nothing about that, it don't work. I need to be versed in everything so you can create that genuine connection. And this book is just a reflection of all of these different perspectives that, yeah, I will kind of deliver and connect with young people. So this is my first book. This took me ages. This was a horrible experience. This was like therapy for me. Just because it took about like 2 years to create this, back and forth with the publisher. And that's why after this, I was just like, I'm doing it myself, you know. I thought that's more empowering. I don't know how the other authors felt, but I felt for me, it was just more suited, just because I work quick. I don't want things to linger. I want full control. I want to start and finish because I'm always on to the next thing anyway. If you're an author and you've got one project to do, then maybe having an author or a publisher might work for you because that's your context and you're not distracted, but I'm highly distracted. Highly. When I do engage with people, I always forget, oh, I've got books and stuff. That's not the focus. It's who are you? How can we create that connection? Because I know that connection is what it's all about at the moment. But anyway, that's myself. Am I right for time? Finished?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, so that's Davis Williams. Feel free to ask any questions. My table's over there. And I've got 1 or 2 other books online. They're more e-books, but I did bring them today as well. So thank you guys. Any questions, by the way?
Questions for Davis Williams?
It's not really a question, but I've been following Manhood Academy for a while,
Oh,
and I just wanted to say thank you for your work. Because
thank you.
I found it on Instagram and it's really inspiring.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
Any more questions, people?
I don't want to
What
ask
promise?
a
You
question.
did a good job.
I want to ask a question, but all of the writers so far, there's a lot of stuff inside of me that philosophical stuff, if one might say. But on the point of the difference between the male and the man.
Here we go.
No, I said that. No, I said that. My eldest son now is like 43 years old, and I told him that at 13. Okay, and I gave him the illustration because he asked me what did I give him an example of certain things. So I do agree with you. One of the things in my life's journey that I have realized, and one might say I'm a single parent, and truly I am because there was never any help, is that how influential us women are
Absolutely.
in our boys' lives.
Absolutely.
It is a little bit of a, I don't want to call it a fallacy, but I think there's a lot of misinformation to boys that the most important parent is the father because it's male to male. But actually, I learned a lot about the connection between a man or a male and a female, i.e. his mother, when males have lost their mothers died. I'm grown males.
Yes.
And the effect it has had on them. And so through my life's journey, I've come to realize that actually the woman is the more influential one. And what I usually say to people out of my culture as a Jamaican is that, I don't know what's happening now, but in Jamaica, in the community, if you're rude to your father, the community will beat you, but if you're rude to your mother, they beat you again. Yeah? And I think a lot of women, mothers, from my experience of speaking with them and them being, yes, a single parent, but I think that they don't really understand the power that they have an influence on their sons. So that's just a point I would like some of the women who are not necessarily here, but in the world, to understand and perhaps put a little bit more effort and don't just say, well, oh, he's not going to listen to me. It's his dad, the dad is important, very important, whether they're looking out for them or not. I've never turned my children against their fathers, but I'm just saying that I really have realized how powerful our role is in raising our sons.
100%, I agree with you. And like working with young boys, it's like all ethnicities, it's hugely challenging because you're dealing with trauma. They've seen things like, I was with a young boy today, he's 12. The things that you've seen, I'm not even going to repeat it. It's crazy, and society expects him to thrive out there. This is not happening. It's not. So it's like, what could we do? And that's where, again, it's really challenging. But one of the things that we really focus on with the young boys is like compassion and empathy. A lot of the young boys that I work with, I know myself growing up, I grew up a bit hard because I didn't get the love, I didn't get enough hugs. Dave, you got to be a man, you got to walk. So I'm disheartened. So when I'm speaking to girls or whatever, Dave, you're emotionally unavailable, I don't care. Like, you know, I was just being my version of a man, which for me was about safety. It was about safety, I was in survival mode, so I wasn't fulfilling my full potential. And we see a lot of young boys like that today. The reason why they can do what they're doing is because, yeah, they've had to lock something up in their heart. We want them to release their heart, and we want them to show more love. And yeah, for that to happen, it's hard work, you know. You got to bring them up to, you got to introduce them to what is challenging them, so they can get used to it, so they can surpass it. But yeah, don't want to go too deep. But yeah, I agree with you.
And that has to happen that time, etc. All of us. That tree has to be bent before 7, ideally. After that, it becomes very
Of course, yeah, bend the tree one child.
And this is the message to parents.
Yeah.
You know, I tell parents that I used to talk to my children in the womb about how independent they ought to be, how responsible they ought to be. And I'm not bragging and saying that they're wonderful now or which direction they've gone. I'm just saying that's how spiritually it came to me. I didn't read it in a book, and I feel it's very important for the development. And I think the Bible maybe that, you know, the age of 7, and I think psychologists say the same with sociologists. The age of 7 is very important. If you haven't caught it at that time, it becomes harder. Not impossible, it just becomes
more difficult, of course. And let's not forget young girls as well. Young girls go through their challenges and their traumas as well, equally.
All of
you know.
us.
I'm not qualified to talk about young girls because I'm not a girl, but we do work with young girls as well. We identify and recognize their challenges. Did you have a question?
I was going to comment on what I said, but in your experience of working with a lot of boys, well, feeding on what that lady said as a teacher and seeing the impact of single parents, how would you describe the growth? Because I'm coming from a generation when I was at school, the vast majority of us had mommy and daddy. How would you say this new wave where I'd say the 90% of the children now, especially from the Caribbean culture, are coming from single parent homes, raised by women mainly? How do you feel that's affecting us as a culture?
In some cultures, there's this idea because everyone subscribes to it, when a mother gives birth to a child, that child doesn't belong to the mom, it belongs to the community. You know, I strongly believe that. Like, if my son was here now, like, he will tell you that. Like, I go everywhere from birth, and people parent him. He says, I don't walk away. He's like, do what you're doing. Like, it's cool, because I trust you. Do you know what I mean? But also, we all know this is the quote: "It takes a village to raise a." Who's aware of the second part of that quote? There's a second part. That's an incomplete. There's a comma, and then it continues. Does anyone know? Because I didn't know that until I done my Googles. So it does take a village to raise a child, but if you do not initiate that child into the village, that child will burn it down just to feel the warmth. So we have to start including these young people in community matters. There should be young people here. You know, no criticism. I'm just saying. You know, I'm sure you invited them. I attend a lot of these professional meetings with social services, with children, and so on and so forth. Hundreds. And when I'm there, you know, you've got the social worker, you've got this worker, that worker, you've got the police, and I'm always saying to myself, where's the community? Like, why is it all professional? And these professionals, they are very cold. There's no love, there's no compassion. It's just straight, you need to be here at this time, otherwise, blah, blah, blah. It's very straight. There's no love in that space. And I always find it challenging because the community is kind of kept out. You know, I have my own theories behind that. So one of the things I always say to parents is never isolate yourself. Create a network around you. And if you don't have one, go and create one.
But don't you think that a lot of the times, then a lot of women will then create a network of other women? Because if I say I'm entering a parent for a child, I'm seeing a whole list of phone numbers that I can contact, but they're all women.
Yeah.
And one of the things I was taught years ago is in the Jewish community, when a boy hits, I think it's the age of 13,
It's that same age, yes, it's like
they switch from the mother being that hands-on person to the father. Now, how do you think it's affecting a lot of our black boys, Caribbean boys especially, when that switch has never been done?
You can see it for yourself.
You can see it, isn't it?
You can see it, you know.
You can see it.
And
So, and that is what it's, that, as a teacher, it's affecting them. It really, really is affecting them. And I don't believe as a community that we are addressing these things. And I don't know, maybe you speak to Mum, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, these are things that are not spoken about. Yes, we might talk about being proud Caribbeans, but the thing that I'm seeing in this Caribbean culture now is a lack of a two-parent family and the not speaking about the importance of a two-parent family.
Yeah. Just to summarize, what you're saying is correct. Yeah, I will say two things. The first thing is, when I'm saying create a network, you have to look at your child's strengths. And oh, you're into football. Okay, football. Oh, you're into this. You have to create a network, not of your friends. It's not about friends. You know, it's about useful tools. I'm a tool in the community. People know David. No problem. I don't mind being that. You know, I sustain myself, so that's no problem. So our young people need tools. The second thing is, one thing that I know, like I grew up in East London, not this version of East, like Canning Town, like true East. And within my area, you know, like there was a lot of white families and black families, and one thing that I was always aware of is, why is it that I can't ask my parents a certain question, but Billy and his parents are so transparent? And I was always in awe, like, wow, you know. These cards are essential because a lot of families don't have conversations. With what you're talking about, if you're not even prepared to tell your child the truth, you might as well forget it. If you're not prepared to say, child, ask me, ask. And allow for you to create a new possibility, then it's not happening. So you must be brave. Growing up, I saw the difference when I was in school with my black friends and my white friends. I could see straight away. These guys had much more confidence because they were exposed, they were having conversations, and this is what happening, you know. And it's sad. And it's not the rule across the board. It's just based on my observations. I've seen that. Yes, 1 minute. Thank you, Tom. Yeah. But yeah, and the promise that I made. So, I've got two children, an 18-year-old and a 13-year-old. And I made both of them a promise when they were born. You can ask me after, but yeah, I made a promise. And that promise is like my North Star. You know, my word, like, that is what I'm sticking to, and that's non-negotiable. Yeah, regardless, I will not sell my soul. You know, as tempting as it may be, that is the direction that we need to go as a family. Thank you. Thank you very
much. Wow, thank you, man. Very thought-provoking. Thank you, David Williams. Wow.
Oh, thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Okay, so we've got up next Rick Tucker. Give a warm welcome.